Folks, this is some stories about mountain witches, particularly around Tennessee, the Carolinas, and Kentucky, Appalachian area up there. But there's certain ones that I grew up with, and a lot of them were called granny witches because I had a lot of grandmas that actually grew up in Appalachian, and a lot of times they'd have little things like if you take a sassafras twig and kind of crack it or break it open, not all the way, and then you took that and bent it around like a wart. It's supposed to get rid of it. All kinds of superstitions like that. Also, there was elders that would come around and like maybe pray or do some stuff for healing of people. I've actually know a guy I worked with and his daughter. He said the elders, took her out, and he said I didn't even want to go see her what they did, but she got healed, whatever they did. And there's some other water witches is what people call them. They're dousing. They take metal rods or a stick, a forked stick, and kind of go find water, running water. The Indians even have, a legend of a mountain witch of their own. The first one, though, that I would say is probably the biggest one in Tennessee is Bell Witch. The Bell Witch in Adams, Tennessee, is well known and supposedly documented historically as a real haunting place. It involved John Bell and his family. He came and bought many acres of land out there to do farming, and for a while everything was good, and then somehow he got into it with a neighbor, and they think that she was like a witch, or there was some influence of a witch that happened, and then everything started going cursed. The land just started, things wouldn't grow. He'd see weird animals out there, black-headed, two-headed dogs, and every night there was noises like scratching and in their house at night when they slept, and some of the people got sick, and even John Bell actually ended up getting sick and was poisoned and actually killed him. But during this time, though, of this haunting, there was Andrew Jackson, the General Andrew Jackson, President Andrew Jackson, came down there to see what was going on. And when he left, he said, "I'd rather face the whole entire British Army as I would the Bell Witch." That's supposedly a true story. Now, another place in Tennessee it's Stamp Cemetery. It's kind of mid-Tennessee, Cookeville. It's called the Witch's Grave. Now, on this Witch's Grave, a lot of these older ones that have tent grave vaults on them. That's like a big slab sticking up like a V on top of the graves. Some say it's to keep them in, some say it's probably to keep animals out. But these pentagrams, some point down, some point up. People say the ones that point down are the bad witches, the ones that point up are the good witches. And I don't know if this is related to the Order of the Eastern Star, which is a female Mason type organization that does actually put stars on their graves. Because it doesn't say that. This was old, and nobody really knows why and where they came from. It's just awful strange, but cool. But one that I grew up with, which this is a true story, I just, it happened, and I just heard it through the family from my relatives, which were called the Hawk Brothers, which were back in the 1930s in Bristol, Tennessee. They went out, they all were kids, and they went out sleigh riding one night, and it was just kind of around King Mountain, or not King Mountain, but King College up there in this area. And, it was all wooded back then, and as they were sleigh riding, this big black thing screeched and came out of the trees and was screaming and hollering at them, and they took off running. And these guys were used to outdoors. They knew it wasn't a bird, and they also ended up fighting in World War II, all four of them. So they're brave people. But they told this story to us in our family that really happened, whatever it was. It scared some other people, and they had a write-up in it the next day about, they called it Black Annie, not to be confused with Black Annie's stories today, because this is 1930s, but that's supposedly a true story. And another story, though, is about the Cherokee. The Cherokee folklore in the Nantahala Forest in North Carolina, a Taiu or Spearfinger was like a shapeshifter. So, I mean, she could change it to an older lady, nice, or a nice looking lady. She could do these shapes and lure children in, and then she kind of put them sleep, and then she'd eat their livers. That's what she was known for doing. And then they wake up not even really knowing, and die later because they didn't have a liver. That's kind of the story of the Spearfinger in the mountains, which that's pretty heavy duty right there, you might say. But today we still have modern day witches out there and people in covens and pagans, and they often, they're out there, they're admitted and have groups, and they just believe in what they believe in. A lot of us deals with metaphysical stuff like these rocks and different herbs and things that you help to take to heal and clean up your environment and things, which is all good stuff. I mean, probably some of that's similar to what the granny witches did. But there's also some out there that still do the dark magic, and probably more towards satanic stuff, which is probably not a good thing. But there's still people out there that do that. So if you're out there, they're still out there. You better watch out. Thanks for watching.